Hey everybody, welcome to Whiskey Whistle. I'm the host of the show, Mark, and you're watching Whiskey Review number 187. And that is Johnnie Walker 21-year-old XR. XR. This is a very, very interesting whiskey, predominantly available in travel retail, although there are some retailers in the UK that stock it. And likewise, here in Korea, where I live, there are some retailers that stock it regularly also. Very ostentatious bottle. Look at that one. It's huge, it's heavy, it's gorgeous, but you know, a little bit of overkill, isn't it? Anyway, we will get that poured. What a huge cork that is. Look at that thing. It's enormous. Now I noticed that some of the Crown Royal corks are also, cork stoppers are also similarly enormous. I wonder if they get them made from the same company. Let's get it poured. And I'm using a classic malt selection whiskey glass. Slightly different shape than the Glencairn, a little bit more tapered at the top. Here we are. That's more than enough, I would say. Put the cork on. Set that down for a minute. Now, what's the story with this one? Just a quick little rundown. Oh yes, and there's another completely other bottle here in this one. I bought one to keep and one to drink. Very nice presentation and not too extravagant. So it's cardboard. It's just nice hard cardboard. I'm not going to read all this for you, but aged for 21 years, Johnnie Walker XR is a superior blend sourced from the private reserves of the master blender. I won't read the tasting notes. Anything back here? Let's see. And it just repeats itself. Some of the liquid is sourced from the private reserves of the master blender, including extra rare casks from now silent distilleries. Johnnie Walker XR 21-year-old really is extra rare, so savor every drop. Okay, and a little bit of information here about the 21-year-old from the Master of Malt website. A special edition release of Johnnie Walker. This 21-year-old expression was inspired by the blending notes of Sir Alexander Walker, featuring whiskey from the extensive Johnnie Walker stocks. The XR 21-year-old is even said to include whiskey from the now silent Brora distillery. Exciting stuff from Johnnie Walker, yes. Again, I won't read the tasting notes. And it gets good reviews, I'll say. So we'll let that sit for a minute. So hang tight and we're going to come back. We've got two things going on here. We're trying the Johnnie Walker XR together, and we're also trying the Johnnie Walker Platinum 18-year-old also. I should have put some way to identify these. I'll have to keep them separate. Okay, so we're doing these concurrently. Please watch them both. Please like them, and stay tuned for the review of this one in just a moment. All right, welcome back. This is Johnnie Walker XR 21-year-old, said to contain some very famous, although silent whiskies from places like the Brora distillery. Now, not much older than the 21, but yes, I'm getting a lot of older smells. I'm getting bookshelves. I'm getting a further aged peat content. There's a grassy hay-like content, hay-like scent as well. Now, where did I have that one? Huge sweetness. There is hay, malty. And the peat is there, but it's an aged peat, so it's a little bit different than peat when it's younger. Very earthy, not necessarily licorice. more like a bit of clay, a little bit of you know, smoldering oak. Okay, how about the palate now? Cheers, everyone. Caramel at the same time as this sort of old books library, kind of a oak law office with all kinds of volumes of legal books sitting there. So sweet, juicy. And again, that little bit of peat is kicking up through my nose here. Smoked apples. Wouldn't that be great? Smoked apples. No tropical fruits here. Predominantly apples and pear. Citrus? Nope. How about this one? A smoked apple dipped in caramel. So a caramel smoked apple. That would be great. The finish is very long. Hint of pepper, a little bit of peat there. Not much. Very sweet, very apple, very ripe apple. Also baked apple, smoked apple. Very drinkable, very well-rounded, perfect balance, I would say. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that I like this more than I like Blue Label. Easy drinking, not a lot of complexity, but enough things going on there that it's really pleasant. It's just a joy to drink from start to finish. And I wrote here, I wondered if there's a lot of older Cragganmore involved here. Okay, let's add a little bit of water there, not too much. 1 drop, 2 drops. So probably about 1 milliliter of water added there. Okay, we'll come back to that in a minute. Stay tuned, we'll have a short word from the YouTube sponsors right here. Okay, back with the 21-year-old XR, Johnnie Walker XR. Big caramel now on the nose with water. Oh, wow. Very candied, very much vanilla, very strong vanilla candies. Dare I say, even a little bit of chocolate here now. Dark brown sugar. Old books are coming through there also. I smell whiskey here that was probably distilled in the 70s or 80s, or perhaps even before that. You can really get a sense of the generation of whiskey by how it smells. The wood was different. I think not a lot of bourbon casks were used in the past. That's kind of a new thing. And if they weren't using fresh sherry casks, they were using refill sherry casks. And they may have just been put together with staves from a variety of old sherry casks that were already used once. And you get much more of the distillery character from those kinds of casks, which are still active in the sense that they have an effect on the whiskey for aging, but they're inactive in the sense that they really let the whiskey show itself how it is right from the still. Now, I know it's a different brand here, but if you look behind me, there's a particular whiskey that was made in the 80s probably that doesn't have an age statement. Yes, NAS whiskeys existed even back then. It might have been around about 8 years old, but it wasn't quite, I don't think it was, because they actually put out an 8-year-old whiskey after the fact. But anyway, there's something in here. It's kind of like a piney, resinous kind of a scent that reminds me of that whiskey, which I can't mention because it's a different brand, it's a different company altogether. So it's back there, over there somewhere. And so that kind of tells me that there's whiskey here that is no longer made, and that just doesn't even get made anymore because they just don't do that. In general, as whiskey has kind of come to dominate the spirits market, it's totally dominating now. It has gotten a little bit sweeter in its taste profile, and it's missing out on a lot of the herbals, the minty, eucalyptus, old book sort of flavors and scents that came from whiskeys distilled in the 70s and 80s or earlier. A little bit of lemon coming through here now, which is interesting. All right, let's give that a taste with water now. This is the 21-year-old XR from Johnnie Walker. Interestingly, this comes in sour, tart, and then sweet. The peatiness is still there, a little bit subsided now. It has subsided somewhat. Now I've had Brora once and only once. That was in Winnipeg. Lupo. Lupo, if you're watching, you should get this. I think you'll like it. I don't fully remember that Brora, but what I remember was that there was a peatiness to it, along with a sweetness that I just hadn't tasted before, and I'm getting a bit of that here. And the old books, the library effect. A little bit drier now than before without water. Anyway, very, very nice. All right. So how about the WhiskyWhistle Whiskey score for Johnnie Walker XR 21-year-old? By the way, this is bottle number JWAY0434XR, which will probably tell us a little bit more about when this was made. I believe this is the newest incarnation of this bottle. Oh, there's a little bit of a note back here. What does that say? L3282CS000 01112692. Whatever that means. Who knows? If someone can decipher that, please let me know. I really like this, and again, the price is very reasonable. I've heard that people can pick this up for about $100 US, which for a 21-year-old whiskey is unheard of in today's market, especially if that's a single malt. It's blended Scotch whiskey. Do not think of that as inferior, because it isn't. And if you think so, I would love to show you this one in a blind tasting with a few malts at 21-year-old and this one, and see if you could pick it out. I don't think you'd be able to be honest. That's my humble opinion. Anyway, so for Johnnie Walker XR, 21-year-old, the WhiskyWhistle Whiskey score is going to be 92 out of 100. Yep. 92 out of 100. That's the WhiskyWhistle score for Johnnie Walker XR 21-year-old. Fantastic stuff. All right, now just before we finish up, let's compare these two. I've got just a swallow and a half left here to try. We've got the 18-year-old over here and the 21-year-old over here. Peppery, menthol, minty. Not that sweet. How about this one? An apple sweetness, caramel. No mintiness at all. Very sweet. Sweet, sweet, sweet on the 21-year-old. Appley. How about the palate over here? It's a sweet peaty treat, and it's lovely. Take a bit of my water here now. A 21-year-old. A rich sweetness combined with these older whiskey flavors that you just don't see now in whiskeys that have even the same age statement. Very lovely. I really do prefer the 21-year-old. That's 40% also. Yes, it is. The 18 not far behind, however. Not a lot of sweetness on the nose, but sweet, peaty, a little bit of herbal earthiness to it also on the palate. And both of them have very long finishes. That was Johnnie Walker. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed that one. For the single malt only lovers, let me just ask you, just once, if you've got a friend who's got either of these, go try it. Try it with an open mind and an open heart and see how these do for you, because I think that in terms of value, that's my dog Rocky. Rocky, quiet down now. In terms of value, you're getting a lot for your money here. Much more reasonable than 18-year-old big brand single malts. This could even be a third of the price of a 21-year-old single malts. And in fact, I think some of them now even go for about $400 Canadian versus $100 US at duty free. You know, you're gonna do very well with this one. If you can hear my children laughing and screaming at each other, sorry about that one. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for what's coming next. Lots of things. Dalmore, Glendronach, Glengoyne, Macallan, some Canadians which are here. These ones are open. These will get reviewed, and all kinds of things coming up. So stay tuned, and don't forget to subscribe, like it, and leave me a comment. Hope you enjoyed that. Take care now. Goodbye.